The following story was shared on Reddit. I grew up without any siblings. Back then, it was just me, my mom, and my dad, living in our home in the rural area outside Detroit. My parents always tried their best to give me every opportunity, even though money was tight, and they did a pretty good job. I'm now the founder of a fairly successful construction company, living my best life with my wife and our 2 daughters in a 2-story home. My father passed away a few years ago, so my mother had been living alone in the house where I grew up. As she got older, she began having more and more difficulty taking care of everything by herself. Since I couldn't always be there to help her, I finally convinced her to sell the house. She moved into a beautiful, highly rated retirement home. I thought I had made the right decision. Professionals could take care of her, and I could focus on my business and my family. But the day she moved in, her health began to decline, rapidly. I started receiving calls from the nurses and doctors almost every week. They told me her mental state was worsening, that she refused to eat or take her medication. But the worst part, the part that made my stomach turn, was what they told me about her nights. Every single morning, they didn't find her in her bed. They found her sitting inside her closet, awake, shaking, crying. When they asked her why she kept doing that, she always refused to answer. She would just tell them to leave her alone. So I went to visit her. When I asked her directly why she was getting into the closet every night, she just looked at me with tears in her eyes. She said my father wouldn't have wanted me to put her there, that she wanted to go back to her old house. Then she broke down crying and told me to leave. On the drive back, my thoughts were racing. One idea kept forcing its way to the front. What if the staff was mistreating her? It would explain everything. Her fear, her silence. So I did something I thought was justified at the time. I stopped at a Walmart and bought a baby monitor. Later that evening, while my mother was having dinner, I slipped into her apartment and set it up in the corner of her bedroom, aimed directly at her bed. Then I left, went home, had dinner with my family, and tried to get some work done. Around 9 p.m., I checked the monitor. Everything seemed normal. My mother got into bed, turned off the light, and went to sleep. Nothing unusual. I left the feed running in the background. About 2 hours later, something changed. My mother suddenly jolted awake. She didn't move at first. She just lay there, staring at the door, completely still. Then, without warning, she sprang out of bed. Not like someone waking up, but like someone was forcing her. She rushed to the closet, climbed inside, and slammed it shut. I stared at the screen, my heart pounding. After a few seconds, I grabbed my keys and drove. The streets were empty. I got there fast. When I entered the building, the reception desk was empty. No staff in sight. I ran to her apartment, unlocked the door, and rushed straight into her bedroom. Then I went to the closet. I opened it. There she was, curled up, shaking and crying. I asked her what was going on, what she was doing, why she was acting like this. She slowly raised her hand and pointed behind me, to the bed. Only then did I see it, the pale and hairless humanoid creature, sitting on her bed, looking right at us.